Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Craig and Gina Morgan, blended together forever. And we have the honor today to interview some of our dear friends, Scotty and Sarah Montez. We got to know them years ago because we worked together. They were in West Texas when I first met them. And so, Gina, I'll let you just welcome them to the podcast and share anything you want. Then we'll dive in and ask them some questions and what the Lord would want us to share today.
First of all, thank you so much, Scotty and Sarah, for doing this. And we love Scotty and Sarah, known them and seen them grow in huge in our business. And that in itself is exciting. But what's even more exciting about that is watching them come together as a blended family.
Yeah.
We knew them before they were married. So I'm gonna save that and let them tell you how they're blended. But it's just been exciting to see them and what a great job they've done. It's not always easy, we know that, in blending, but they have done a great job overcoming some things and just being great parents, great examples. So with that, I'm going to give it back to you, honey, so we can get
All
started with
right.
you.
That sounds great. If there's anybody that may be new and listening to this, the whole purpose of Blended Together, our mission is to offer hope and resources to other blended families to prevent redivorce and to stabilize the family. And that's really our mission. And these guys have modeled that. When we first met Scotty and Sarah, as I said, they were in West Texas. And I'll let them tell about their family. So, Scotty, Sarah, why don't you start us off by just saying, hey, when you guys first met, just kind of give us a picture of what life was like. And did anybody have kids? Where were you living? What was your job? And just share from the beginning.
All right. Well, first of all, thank y'all so much for considering us and having us on y'all's podcast. But yeah, I was previously married. I came out of a rough relationship from high school, immediately got into another one, got married very quickly to a man who was in and out of prison a lot. So I ended up, we were married first, right? But I ended up getting pregnant pretty quick. And when I was about 7, 8 months pregnant with our oldest son, he got on drugs really, really bad. And so ever since that time, he had always kind of, had problems, been in and out. I had a few times where I wanted to try to work things out for my family. He ended up, we separated a few times in between that. I ended up filing for divorce. And a month after I filed for divorce, I found out I was pregnant with my second son, Lorenzo. So they're 13 months apart. And when I gave birth to Lorenzo, he was in jail and he didn't get out until Lorenzo was 9 months. So he met Lorenzo when he was 3 months old, in jail, 6 months old, and then 9 months. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try one more time before we finalize the divorce, just to see, maybe try to make things work for my family. But being that it had just been me, Alejandro, and Lorenzo for, the first 9 months of Lorenzo's life, he had never seen fighting or, yelling. So trying to rekindle that relationship, it was too much. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I can do this by myself. I would rather my kids see me happy and not in a toxic relationship or environment. And so at that point, I was done. Now I bartended, waitress, did a lot of, two jobs most of the time, trying to provide, for both children, being that their dad was in and out of jail all the time. And yeah, I met Scotty when the boys were about almost 4 and 5 years old. And I was working at a drive-through and Scotty had came through and, I would have conversations with guys, but I never wanted to be in a relationship just because I knew what that would bring. And I didn't want my kids to see me, with this guy and that guy. And so but honestly, I believe God brought us together. I'll let him kind of explain to you how we ended up, connecting and why he got the chance.
Sure.
For sure, for sure. So thank you guys again for having us on y'all's podcast. Man, where it all started from, I was in the oil field before all of this even happened. And when I was in the oil field, I was by myself. I was a single guy. And I was looking for, I would pray to God, like, I know I'm not supposed to do life alone. and I felt like I'm climbing up in age. And I said I wanted a family. I wanted somebody who I could build life with, right? And
Yeah.
at that time frame, there's a few factors that come to play. I remember my family telling me about, hey, there's this beautiful lady that she works at the drive-through. I know that you would definitely love her, and I know there's a connection. They would tell me all these things, so it ended up happening. I went through the drive-through, see my beautiful wife that's next to me today, and I said, "That's the one. That's the one." She is so beautiful, and we connected. We talked, but in that process, I lost my dad in that
Mm.
process, and we got it was kind of rushed. My beautiful wife got to meet my family very early. My mom, my brothers and sisters, like my whole family, because I lost my dad in that process. And in that process, I didn't have nobody to talk to. I was very depressed. I was lost mentally. And Sarah was the backbone for me. She was there to listen in. She was there to comfort me. She was there to listen to everything. And she stood by me every step of the way. And we never separated since then. And we've been together ever since. And that happened in 2017.
Okay. So y'all have been together 9 years. So
Yes.
that's great. Um, there's two things that jump out to me that I want to mention, and then I'll let Gina ask maybe a couple of questions. Sarah, we were talking about the mission of our nonprofit is to one of them, and Gina created it, was to stabilize the family. You came from a very unstable beginning when you got involved with Scotty. So the thing I love about that is that so many people, and Gina's helped me, they feel bad. I know how bad I felt, guilty I felt. Oh crap, I went through a divorce. Now I got to drag my kids to. So there's a lot of guilt, sometimes shame, sometimes unrest, sometimes instability. But seeing where you are today is nothing but stable.
Yes.
So for everybody, maybe let's, I don't care where you're at right now. Look at where these guys have come. And Scotty, you mentioned something about your dad, and I know we made a point of that in our book, how critical that is. Every boy's got two basic questions that they need answered, and that can't be answered by a wife. It can't be answered from somebody else. It has the design was to be answered from a dad. And it's obviously, how old were you when your dad passed?
9 years ago.
9 years ago, I was 30.
So you were 30. Now that you look back, what have you learned from that might help encourage people that might have been in the same boat that you are and they're wondering or trying to get through it?
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, when I was going through that process, memories popped up. Um, if I could go back, I would spend more time with my dad doing the small things, just coming over, having cookouts, and definitely capturing moments. I go back into my phone nowadays, and I don't have a lot of pictures of those moments, and where I was too caught up in my own life and not realizing spending time with people that actually love me, and in that scenario, and then knowing what I know now, it definitely educated my parents, right, on the benefits of having a financial future and having stability and protection on themselves, because my dad went through that and he didn't have anything, and we went through a whole lot of scenarios. It was
Wow.
tough.
Thanks for sharing that. Gina, I know you've got a question or two that you'd like to ask Scotty and Sarah. Why don't you pick it up from here?
So when you guys got together and then got married, so you're blending the two boys, and just for purposes for everybody else to know, Scotty came into the relationship, no kids. Sarah has two, none between you yet. So the not planting any seed there. But anyway, um, tell us how the dynamics, tell us what worked. Tell us what was I'm not going to say like the magic thing, or what you saw, what was the game changer that you saw that helped you guys blend. Um, and just go down that road with us a little bit.
All right. Honestly, I mean, Scotty kind of stepped up to a plate that, wasn't it was a full plate, but I was kind of the only one at it, right? So the boy's dad is somewhat involved. When they go to West Texas to visit their grandma, they, you know, get to see him every now and then. But it's a very tough situation, just because my first priority, of course, as his too, is, you know, not causing any more childhood trauma than is already there for them. So I know at first, you know, at times, you know, Scotty would feel jealous because the boys, their dad is their dad, right? And I've never been the type of mom to say, oh, well, your dad, this, and that. That's for them to see as they grow up. So communication between me and Scotty on, you know, I know we have feelings and we may feel, you know, jealous or left out or whatever the case is, but our sole priority and job is to make it the best for them, right? I know we may feel certain types of way, but we kind of have to put ourselves second for the kids. So just, you know, communicating between me and him and keeping them in their emotional state first priority has definitely helped us.
As for me, Gina, yeah, it was very tough. What really did it for me is when you guys shipped us off to a marriage conference,
Yeah.
right? Through our mentors, Anthony and Myra, they said they had talked to you guys and whatnot, but that helped a lot. And here's why it helped. I believe we did a scenario of making a vehicle, and who do you have inside of the vehicle, who's in the front seat. I was putting myself in the front seat for them and not letting them allow themselves to put me where they wanted and where they felt where I should be at. And I felt like that was the jealousy part. That was the hurt part, because I wanted this position and I was putting myself there. When I look back and I just let God take over and I was just praying about it, I felt much better, because then they started moving me by themselves and not me doing that forcibly for them. So that helped a whole lot.
That's good. That's really good. So you kind of took the role, or the posture of walking in their shoes, seeing what it was like for them versus just coming in, you know, like you said, and feeling this or that, jealous or left out. Walking their road in their shoes and taking that posture first. That's good. That's really good. Thanks for sharing that, Scotty.
You're welcome.
Honey?
You know, one of the things that I'm reminded just hearing that you share the story is that it's the kids that determine the pace when you're trying to blend your family together. I know that when Gina and I got together, she had said, "Oh, finally, I've got a husband. I've got four boys. He can help lead this and kind of corral the testosterone and have a little bit." And so I just thought, okay, I'm supposed to come in and be dad. And that's not really the case. I mean, too many people try to rush this process, don't they, Gina? Where they need to just slow down. First of all, get some history with them, be a friend, and then a trusted uncle, and then your authority kind of grows in time. It's not something they should just rush in to do, and different kids bond at different paces. You know, some maybe do it early, and where some may do it much longer.
Right.
So that's good, Scotty, that you shared that, because that's an important component in blending. All right. What's ahead for you guys as a family? I mean, we've seen some great things happen in your lives, from the financial blessings of where you're at to where your relationship is to where the boys are. I think so many people, and again, that's the last chapter. They don't have a vision for their family. They feel like they're kind of wandering in the wilderness. Well, you know, because they look at the current issues. Well, my stepson doesn't like me, and then I've got to deal with your ex-spouse over here. And so they kind of get into the minutia of the day to day, and they don't have maybe a clarity of where do we want our family to go. What would you tell people of, yeah, you got to deal with your current stuff. All right, we know that, but it also is important to know you're going to the promised land, as we call it. And what is that for Scotty and Sarah?
Yeah, so I'll start. And it honestly, for the people who might feel stuck or just tied so tightly to what's going on right now and not having a vision or a picture of the future, that question, that Anthony had asked us of where do we see ourselves in 5 years? We had never thought about that, who we are today versus who we were, 9, 8, 7 years ago, even completely different people. We were always just worried about the next party, the next family gathering. But now, just on a 12-month time span, I see us at, ownership in our business. I see us, planning to start building a lake home. We went to look at boats yesterday. So I think just the excitement of being able to, dream with our boys. We tell them from you, Coach Craig, what's a dream trip that they want to take, when they turn 18. So we're keeping them involved, and they love this business. They're 13 and 12 right now, about to be 14 and 13. But they're, Alejandro, our oldest, he's already, I'm going to beat your record to RVP. I'm going to beat your record to the ring. And they're so fired up about life, and about who we are now versus who we used to be. They have definitely seen us change so much.
That is so good. Scotty, you want to add anything to that?
Yes. Just want to encourage anybody that's been going through what we're going through, or you haven't figured things out. It's okay. What helps us is to always keep God in the center of our marriage. Know when the timing is right for conversations. You got to have tough conversations. Don't run away from the tough conversations. Schedule in those conversations. Hey, now is not the time to talk about this, but let's talk about this later in the evening when the kids are not around, and let's have a discussion then. So nobody sees the flare-up moments of that aspect. Yeah. And then to schedule date night. If you don't have date night scheduled, schedule date night. Put away all devices. Be so caught up in the moment with your spouse of that scenario. Ask tons of questions. And it's okay to dream together, even if it's cheesy.
Right.
Have those nice conversations and tell each other that you look beautiful, you look handsome, because we probably not get that enough from the outside world. And it makes you feel wanted. And then for our family, we just ask a ton of questions to our kids. What is it like to live with me? What is it like to be your stepdad? What are some things you like to do? And these are just questions that keep us going. And we may not get the answers that we want, but we fight for that. And the last but not least, just showing our kids that we never give up. We never give up on God. We don't give up on our marriage. We don't give up on our family. We don't give up on our business. And we don't give up on being friends to new people. And I think that's the model that we show our children in this family. We're just not people that don't give up.
Yeah. Love it. Gina, I know that there's a question on the tough seasons that you may want to ask. I mean, we've looked at forward dreams, future, but we also know that there's seasons that are sometimes very difficult. Yeah. And so many people, when they're in that, they throw in the towel. Gina, why don't you ask whatever that is and how they dealt with it and anything they want to share, because I think that's important. Don't you?
I do. And I know there's times when, you don't agree on everything. You have to agree to disagree. That used to be my most unfavorite thing I can say. I guess we can agree that we're going to disagree. No, I don't like this. Let's go beyond that. But I know there's times of that. And I know there's times, and I think it's so good and y'all have done this and go into marriage seminars. And we used to take time and do that once, sometimes twice a year. It's just good to get away and refresh, yourself individually and as a couple. And I know the old saying that don't ever talk or engage in something serious when you're, what is it, tired, hungry, or I don't not well rested, or something like that. That's kind of a rule to go by. But I want to know for you guys, when you're in that situation where there's just doesn't seem like there's a resolution. How do you tell us about that? Tell us about how you handle that, or if there's something that comes to mind that you can, tell someone to help them in that area.
So we're both very different people. Scotty he's like a fixer, right? He likes to talk about things. He likes to smooth things out. I like to ignore it, move past it, almost brush it under the rug, right? So he has definitely helped me on my end of, communication and overcoming things together. I think the first thing is, waiting for the right time, right? But I don't like to talk about things because I can be very aggressive or combative, right? So sometimes I just need time to just like cool down, especially not in front of the kids, and first and foremost, seek God, right? Um, I've, grown my relationship with God, over these last few years. And I never liked the term of being a submissive wife, right? I didn't truly understand it, but just, seeking counsel through other godly women who are in marriages, the right women, right? And then, getting into my word has definitely helped to calm me. So, me and him can connect on a deeper level.
And then as far as me, I'll add is I'm very faith-centered in this family, and I rely on God through it all. And so I just have that conversation. Lord, where am I wrong at? And what do I need to fix with me? I need to look at me first. So I always say, what do I need to fix with me? And how do I need to love my wife? How can I love her more the way you would? And those are questions I ask myself a lot. And then admitting that I'm in the wrong, even if I'm in the right, man, right? Just admit, hey, I'm in the wrong. I'm so sorry. Admitting that, having that conversation and say, hey, I'm in the wrong and I'm here today in front of you to make it right. And I want to get better. So my apologies and I ask for forgiveness. And I think that's huge, asking for them for forgiveness. And then I want to ask them questions. I ask my wife questions all the time. Where can I get better at? And where do I need to understand you more? Right. And there's times that women go through things that men don't. And sometimes they're a little aggressive, right? And I have to learn, hey man, I need to know how she needs to be taken care of here in this area. And then after that, just keep it up and stay prayed up. Just hit your knees throughout it all. I think it's a beauty to rescue, to fight for your marriage. Don't give up so easily. And it's okay to be wrong. And it's okay not to have all the right answers. But when you come to God, He'll step in for you.
So good. All right. Now I'm convicted. Gina, how can I love you better? Scotty said that, and I need to ask that question. So I'm going to ask it now. We'll talk about it more later. Scotty is so good. I know the time's going to get away from us. We're going to have to wrap up. But Scotty, there's people on here that they don't, they're not going to go to church. They don't want to hear a preacher. They don't want to hear anybody tell them that they're going to go to hell. And they have these thoughts of, I don't want religion. You have a very sincere, deep faith. If somebody's on here and they're trying to blend their family and their own strength and their own willpower and it's just not working, what would you tell that man or woman or couple uh, where to go get the real answers that would help them blend their family together? What would you tell them? Mm-hmm.
First question I would ask, do you want the pattern to continue? The way you've been dealing with the situations, every single time that it pops up, have you been getting the outcome you truly desire, that you truly want? And if not, then we have to make adjustments. You got to ask yourself, where do I need to make adjustments at? And then if there's somebody who created you, ask that question first. Where is God at in my life? And if I don't know God, how can I get to know him? And I believe this wholeheartedly is that you can't get good without God. You get God and then you get good.
Yeah, so good.
That's gold.
Yeah. I know we got to wrap up. I want Gina to ask the last question about hope because she's the one that when we were, if you're again new with us or been down the road, we wanted to not just prevent re-divorce. As she said, we've got to offer hope that people can blend their family and it will be successful. Now, we're obviously, Gina, on the other end, we've been doing this 30 plus years, but there's people at the very beginning stage that are listening to this. And then there's people that are Scott and Sarah are kind of in the middle stage, and they go, "Wait a second, they made it." Other, how would you? Well, you ask the question of them to whatever they'd want to share. That, but it would be give people hope.
Yeah. 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 Walk us down that road. I know with us, what I mean, it was not even up for discussion. We knew what the goal was. The goal was we were staying married no matter what. That was the goal.
Right.
That we never discussed, never even said the D word or even the separated word. It was we're gonna get through this. Maybe not right now. And what used to help is we would agree, okay, I'm good, you're good. I love you, you love me. We may not like each other, but just letting each other know, I love you. Okay, this does not affect my love for you. I don't like you right now. Maybe that, but I knew he loved me. And I could get through anything knowing that. Okay, we may not agree right now and it doesn't look good, but as long as I knew I had that. So tell me, how you guys, you know, how do you talk to somebody about having hope when they can't get through something?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go first. Having hope is I wouldn't don't strive for a perfect marriage.
Right.
We serve one who is perfect. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
So let it be. It's okay if it's a mess because God will turn your mess into a message. And as long as we can continue to run to God and not to our own understandings, that gives you hope. Look where you come from, count your blessings along the way, and know, hey, this is going to be a fight, but tell your spouse you're worth fighting for. And I believe that there's hope there.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just having grace, right? Like Scotty said, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. Our kids are going to have mistakes. It's life, right? But showing grace to each other and seeing that if our spouse is truly trying to grow and change and get better, realize that that's probably the person God put in your life for a reason. Me and Scotty had our first 2 years was really rough, and building a business together has been rough at times too. We made it to the other side, right? But there was times where I had thoughts, I'm sure he had thoughts, but at the end of the day, it always brought us back to like, I want to do life with you. I want my children to be raised by you. I want to be with
Yeah.
you. I want you to be their father, their father figure. And it's
Mm.
just giving grace to each other and staying united through God.
Mm. That's great.
Isn't it? You
Thank you.
guys are just phenomenal role models
Yes, you
for,
are.
there's so many different compositions of blended families, one spouse passes and remarries and they get kids, others, divorce, and then they, others like Sarah, single mom, then Scotty comes on. I mean, but
Mhm.
you are a light. Thank you for sharing this. Gina and I are very grateful that we can't wait for people to hear your story. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, if it's all right with you guys, I'll pass on your contact info because you never know what the Lord may be doing with this. Okay.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks for sharing
Absolutely.
your hope and how you've done it. Thank
We
you.
appreciate you
We
guys.
appreciate you guys.
All righty. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.